Hello, I'm Coach Christian, and I help extremely stressed people to deal with their stress by observing it for themselves. Thank you very much for being here in this video. And today we are going to talk about, we're going to answer a question, right? Typically, I make a video every single day that's designed to present you with tools that you can apply immediately to help you deal with stressful situations in your life. All right, now that we've gone through that, um, so basically what I do is I answer a question. So if you have a question that you'd like to ask, please that you'd like me to answer, please put it in the comment section below, and I may answer it in a forthcoming video. And of course, if you like what is being shared in this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe to it, and hit the bell notification. Ding, 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 ding. This will notify you whenever a new video comes out. Alright, now that we're done with all that stuff, let's move into the question of the day. Coach Christian, I often do and say stupid things when caught up in the heat of the moment. How do I stop myself from saying things that I will later regret? Coach Christian, I often do and say stupid things when caught up in the heat of the moment. How do I stop myself from saying things that I will later regret? Okay, so this does happen a lot, right? And look, all of this whole behavior of reacting in the heat of the act in the heat of the moment. Usually, what we do is we react, right? There's a difference between reacting and acting. When you act, you're responding to the moment and what's happening. You're behaving intelligently. When you react, you're just acting, right? You're just acting off of, you're following the tendencies of your memory. All right, let's get a little more specific. For instance, let's say, I don't know, like, sure, you're like, let's say you have a boyfriend and you cook for your boyfriend, right? So you cook a meal for your boyfriend and he tells you that he doesn't like the meal, or it's like there's not enough salt in it, right? So if you get pissed off in that moment, you might say something that you regret. You know, you're like, I don't, or you might you might react and say something like, I'm having fun with this. All right, so you might react and say something like, you're not that good in bed, anyways, right? And then later, of course, you start to regret that statement, right? When maybe he doesn't want to initiate sex with you anymore, or is is no longer opening to you up to you about things, or is looking for another woman or whatever, and you start to regret. Holy crap, right? Holy shit. Why did I why did I say that? Why did I say such a thing when I was angry? This is what you're talking about, getting caught up in the heat of the moment. This is another way of saying reacting, right? If you look at, maybe this is your go-to reaction when it comes to when someone says something you don't like, something that makes you feel small, maybe your reaction is to like do a comeback, say something immediately, you're not that good in bed anyway, or you're also a failure. Or maybe we all have different tendencies. Your tendency might be, if someone says something that you consider to be insulting, your tendency might be to punch them in the face, right? Or, your reaction might be to not talk to them at all. Whatever it is, all this is reaction. So, where is the reaction coming from, right? This heat of the moment behavior. This is coming from your memory. It's coming from your previous actions, right? So, if you take an action and you repeat it and you repeat it, it becomes a tendency. So, maybe in the past, when someone said something that was annoying, you did a comeback, you insulted them back. And maybe even you got a benefit from it. The person got so ashamed they didn't say anything to you again. So you thought to yourself, it works. So obviously, when another situation comes up, you did another comeback, right? So this is your go-to tendency, right? But of course, as often happens, you see, when you're reacting, you're not behaving intelligently. You're behaving mechanically, right? It's like you already have preset ways to behave, and you're just following those ways, right? And that is not behaving intelligently, right? Imagine someone who always responds the same way to everything, right? Imagine someone who responds the same way to every question, right? There's an element of stupidity there, right? Because what you want is someone who's fluid, right? I mean, a good example is this. Just I don't know if you're familiar with the game of foosball, right? So when I used to be in high school, there was foosball was a big thing at my school. So I wasn't that good at foosball, but sometimes I'd come and play foosball with the rest. So it's kind of like a game. It's supposed to be football, but it's on a table, and you keep like moving metals like this and hitting the ball. Anyways, the point is, every single time I'd just hit the ball with a lot of force. Boom, 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 right? So I used to hit the ball with a lot of force, right? And of course, there were times when it was necessary to hit the ball with a lot of force. And in such moments, my strategy would work. But eventually, my friends would keep telling me, hey, I mean, you got to try something else. You can't just keep hitting the ball that hard, right? So, and the whole idea was that I had one tool, one reaction that I use, one way of acting in a given situation. And my friends were basically telling me, you're not playing intelligently, right? That was the essence of it. This is the same way. If you have a set reaction to an event, you're not being intelligent, right? Because um, you're just gonna keep repeating that same thing instead of looking at the situation, instead of observing the situation and doing what the moment demands, right? There are situations where it is necessary to keep quiet. When someone insults you, there are situations where it's necessary to keep quiet. Sometimes it's necessary to reply back. Sometimes it's necessary to just leave. You don't really know. If you have one predetermined way, in situations where that predetermined way works, you're fine. But life presents you with a variety of situations. Sometimes it's not gonna work, you know. So, for instance, you might have the default of whenever someone asks you to do something, you say yes, right? Your default is to always say yes. In situations where you should say yes, you're fine. In many situations where the appropriate reply is no, you're in trouble, right? This means that people start to take advantage of you. This could happen. You might find yourself taking on more than you can handle. This is because your reaction is to say yes, right? So what's the solution to this reactive behavior? What do you do? Right? One of the things we've been taught is think before you act. So that you have to think first before taking an action. But this is hard work, man. Like every single time, every single action, are you gonna think before you act? And what are you gonna think about? Right. So there is some wisdom to this idea, but it's not very sensible. And my own observations are like, you see, the very thoughts that you come up with are also reactions, right? They're just like repetitions of think. I mean, one day pay attention to your thoughts and find out if you have an original thought. What you find is that every thought you have is a thought you've had before, right? So it's still more reactivity. This time it's not external, but it's going on in your head. Okay, so what does one do under such situations? Again, I can't really tell you what to do, but here's what I've observed to be effective, right? Maybe not in every action, but at least try to take some time to pause before. I'm not saying think, but pause before taking a certain action. Like in crucial moments, right? Somebody has just said something that's pissed you off. Your boyfriend just told you that your food sucks, all right? The natural tendency for you might be to now react and tell them how they suck, how all the wrong things they've ever done, why you never liked them anyway. That's a natural tendency. But are you capable of pausing? If you can pause, even for a couple of seconds, right, you'll be able to behave more intelligently. So then the natural question you're going to ask me is, Christian, okay, this sounds good, but how do I pause? Right? Like because in the heat of the moment, right? They call it the heat of the moment for a reason, right? If you pay attention to the heat of the moment, you just like the behavior, the compulsive behavior, the reaction takes on a force of its own, and it just feels unstoppable. Right? That's correct. I mean, not that it's unstoppable, but it does feel unstoppable. Right? If you're someone who's used to like uh, talking back when someone insults you, the next time someone insults you, to keep quiet is almost impossible. Right? Or if you're someone, let's say, who's used to saying yes, whenever people ask you for things, you say yes. Right? That's your default reaction. Saying no is going to be extremely difficult. In fact, it's going to feel impossible to say no. Right? So just uh, and I mean now being told that you need to pause fast will be hard, right? For you to be impossible to pause, you just like wanna uh, do whatever the reaction is, man. Just do it. Right? Someone just called you just someone just called you an ass. Your impulsive reaction is to punch them in the face. To stop yourself from punching them in the face, that's pretty much might be impossible for you. So maybe pausing is even you don't know how to pause. So if really this is the case, right? So I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to pause because there's no like there's no algorithm, there's no process. I can't tell you what to do. These are only things that one learns via observation. So, but here's what you can do. Here's something that's worked for me. If the compulsive behavior is too strong, let it happen. And then once the compulsive behavior ends, sit down and observe what that feels like, right? So let's say you got into an argument with your boyfriend and you are so you reacted and you told him all sorts of things. In the heat of the moment, it might be hard to stop yourself from saying those things. But eventually the argument is going to come to an end. When the argument comes to an end, okay, in that moment, don't do anything else. Sit down, keep your back straight to be as alert as possible. Close your eyes and just let whatever happens. What you'll notice is that the thoughts from the argument are going to come back. You're going to feel maybe your heart beating really fast. You're going to be thinking about what you should have told them, what you should have said, right? Or maybe you're going to start feeling guilty for what you did say. Maybe you're going to start fearing how the argument is going to affect your future interactions. Just let all of this stuff happen in your mind, right? And obviously, one benefit is that after a while, this feeling will subside and you'll be able to behave intelligently again. But if you do this consistently, right, every time you react, after the reaction, you sit down and look at the reaction, one thing you're going to notice is that you'll become, over time, after a while, you'll be able to predict moments that are going to cause you to react. And even better, you're going to have moments where normally you would have reacted, but you'll be able to pause. So the pause, like this pause I'm talking about before reacting, like pausing before reacting, or catching yourself in the middle of a reaction and not reacting anymore, that's going to be a natural consequence of observing, maybe after having reacted, observing and paying attention to what that feels like, the emotion that generates, right? When you observe this, you create space and you're able, it's kind of like taking a pause and letting things happen. And you'll become better at being able to do it even in the middle of chaos. All right, so I hope that is helpful. Now, if you have a question, right, that you'd like me to answer, please, in the comment section below, please do ask the question or tell me what you're thinking about what I'm saying. This will ensure that it's possible that I'll answer your question in a forthcoming video. The other thing is also that your comments will help me to know what you're thinking. This will help me to make videos that are in your best interest, videos that are specifically designed to tackle a situation that you're having. And of course, if you loved the material in this video and you'd like to receive more of it, please don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, right? And don't forget to hit the bell notification. Ding, 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 ding. This will notify you whenever I publish a new video for you. Now, if you've loved this observe approach to dealing with, let's say, reactive and compulsive behavior, and you'd like to learn more about it, then just again in the description of this video, just click on something called the observe approach. When you click on that link in the description, this will give you free and instant access to a simple but very powerful method that you can apply immediately to deal with any problem that's stressing you out. In particular, it will help you, it will show you how you can deal with, let's say, uh, reactive behavior, when you react and do things that you later wind up regretting. Yep, and that's it, man. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hope to catch you on the next one. Bye.